One of the hottest young adult book series is now a major motion picture. It's The Darkest Minds. Author Alexandra Bracken has just released the latest book, The Darkest Legacy. And Alexandra, when you started writing, I want to talk about you for a second. You started out learning the business from the ground up, which I don't think a lot of authors do. You actually started out as an editor. What kind of an advantage did that give you as a writer?
I had a really interesting path into publishing because I actually sold my first book when I was a senior in college. And really up until that point, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life. I thought I might go to law school, and then in the middle of taking the LSAT, I was like, I do not want to be a lawyer. I don't know what I'm doing here. And so just because I had sold the book and knew a little bit about the industry, I thought, well, I could also work in publishing too. I could work in editorial or marketing. And so I moved to New York. I left Colonial Williamsburg behind, William and Mary, and went right to Manhattan and was lucky enough to get a job. And I worked in publishing as my day job for about 6 years until I could finally, I had enough saved to be able to write full time.
Well, how does such outwardly such a sweet, clean-cut, lovely young woman like yourself write these dark, twisted, fantastic tales? Where does all that come from? Where do you dig to get all that stuff?
I think I'm probably not alone in this. I think people are fascinated by darker stories. And it's really, it's like some kind of anxiety we have about our own survival. And I think when we like shows and watch shows like The Walking Dead or any sort of post-apocalyptic or disaster movie, we kind of want to see evidence that the human race can survive, but also our humanity can survive these really dark moments that test our morality and test, who we consider ourselves to be as people. So I think that's what attracts me to these kinds of stories. And I also love writing stories that have really high stakes and are page turners. And I think when you throw characters into darkness and danger, it really turns the pages.
Hey, pretty cool to have your stuff up on the big screen. Now, I don't know if you've seen a screener of the movie yet or not, but I was curious if you want, when the audience goes to see it, I mean, obviously there's a literal story that you can enjoy, but are there any metaphors or messages that you really want that maybe aren't outwardly apparent that you'd like the audience to come away with?
Yes, actually, Jennifer Yu Nelson is the director, and one thing I think she really pulled from the book and wanted to resonate strongly on screen was the idea of how important self-acceptance is. And Ruby, the main character, starts as this very frightened girl who's afraid of her power. She doesn't know how to control it. And over the course of the story, she learns to accept that part of her that she fears or that makes her feel so different and unwelcome by the world.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hey, and after we get done here, you've got to get on an airplane because everyone in the audience can show up. You can meet Alexandra and get The Darkest Legacy tonight at the Barnes & Noble on North Dale Mabry Highway in lovely Carrollwood. Her book signing begins promptly at 6:30 p.m. And I think if you bring a camera, she might take a photo with you as well. Alexandra, thank you so much for your time with us today on Tampa Bay's Morning Blend.
Thank you so much for having me.